Welcome everybody. Welcome on behalf of our research cluster in Noragri. This is climate change and intercultural development. So before we just start this seminar, I'd like head of the department, Jennifer, to formally welcome the delegation from Nepal today in this seminar.
Okay, thank you, Nepal. Thank you, Vishal, and welcome to everybody to our seminar today from the Climate Change and Agricultural Development Cluster. It's our pleasure to have Dr. Krishna Prasad Oli here with us today. Dr. Oli is a former member of the National Planning Commission, Government of Nepal. Currently, he is the chairperson of the National Trust for Nature Conservation, and he is also an advisor to the President of Nepal on matters of natural resources and environment. So it is our great pleasure to have you with us today, and you will give a talk about climate change and natural resource management in Nepal based on your non-expertise. So welcome.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. And we have an audience here in front of us, and also there are, I see in the Zoom. So with this, I will invite you, Dr. Krishna Prasad Oli. He was also a honorable member of National Planning Commission of Nepal before he joined this nature trust for nature conservation. And he has a wide experience. He was educated in Nepal, also in Scotland, and having more than 40 years of experience with a wide range of development and environmental issues, from policy and program level through implementation and action. So we are very honored today to have this seminar on behalf of our cluster. And with this, I formally invite you to deliver your lecture on climate change and natural resource management in Nepal.
Thank you very much, Professor Vishal Kedola, and I am really happy to meet with the head of the department, Jennifer. Very nice to meet you, and also Representative Gunan and all the colleagues here from the EU University. I very much would like to make a brief presentation. My presentation will mostly focus on what actually we in National Trust for Nature Conservation we are working, and at the same time, what are the major issues that Nepal is facing, particularly in climate change, and also at the global level, what is happening, how vulnerable are we in terms of climate change and its impact. So these are some of the areas that I will be working, and how in future we will be able to work in collaboration with the outside the university system as well as within our. So these are the areas that
I'm sharing the slide. Then we have in the room, or they can see the, I think they can see, right, in the room.
Then it's screen sharing, so it's
That's what we said.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Jitola. This, this lake, which is Tilicho Lake, called Tilicho Lake, which is one of the highest lake in Nepal in Manang district. where our Annapurna conservation area is there. And I just wanted to show this because, you see all the mountain area, mostly because of the impact of climate change, the rise in temperature. I think we are facing this type of challenges. This is a glacial lake, actually. So, National Trust for Nature Conservation, it was established in 1982 by the act of legislation by the government, parliament, as our representative from NORAD already said, and he knew earlier it used to be named as Kingmaker Trust for Nature Conservation. And after we brought democracy, it has become National Trust for Nature Conservation, name is changed. And it is an autonomous, non-profit making organization. The patron is the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and the chairperson is the nominee of the patron. And it is governed by board of governors. Because earlier we had still we have some European colleagues also in the board, for example, from UK, from Netherlands, and we used to have from Norway also earlier. But after how many 6-7 years, he was they were not there. Our annual budget, of course, this is not a big budget, but this year, right?
It's 21-22.
21 or 22. This year budget actually is because the impact of COVID, and we have to accumulate our own fund. We have to collect our own from government doesn't give any donations. So this is why it is here. We have human resources about 300. We have about 400 people who are working. But because of the COVID, we have to actually lay out our project. And our major vision is a prosperous country where development flourishes by valuing, respecting, and conserving the nature. Nature is focused here. We are working with the nature, as you will see later on also. And our mission is to conserve, manage, and promote nature in all its diversity that cultivates innovation and enhances social equity and quality of life. So this is where we would like to balance the people and the nature. This is where our mission is. And now, project-wise, I would like to say, these are the conservation areas. You see in the mountain, high altitude area, we are working in three major protected area system. One is Annapurna Conservation Area, where Mr. Rajkumar Guru is the manager there. He has been working here for a number of years. And we have Manasulu Protected Conservation Area, which is adjacent to the Annapurna area. And then we have recent Gauri Shankar area, where one of our manager is a PhD from Snow Leopard from the University, Inland University here. So he is also coming tomorrow. So unfortunately, we still working with Inland University there. So this is in the mountain area. Okay. Mountain, it goes from mid hill to all the way to high mountain areas. And whereas in the tropical plain area, we are working in these different protected area, mainly focusing on Bardia Sitaun National Park, and then also Koshitoko Wildlife Reserve, which is in the eastern Nepal here. It has not been shown. Recently, we have opened an office there. Also, we are working in Shukla Phanta, which is near adjacent to Indian border. So there we are working Bardia National Park. We are working on tiger population, mainly tiger. Chiran, who is a tiger specialist, graduated from this university here, and he is providing our service for the last 20 years. So even more than that, I think. So he is working on tiger, and recently this year, actually after the Petersburg summit on tiger, it was 2010. It was agreed that the country will double the population of the tiger, and based on that we started working. In fact, we managed to count this year, and we come up with the result of 300. Initially, it was 120. So almost 2/3 development, but that has also created some of the problems which we will discuss later on. Similarly, we are working on the Sitaun National Park, where we have a small laboratory facility where different types of disease monitor there. There we would like to enhance this. We work on rhino and other wildlife also there. Support to the government of Nepal. All these activities support to the implementation of government policy in Nepal. So what do we do in this institution? We have 6 thematic areas where we are working. One is species conservation. That means megafauna. Largely, we are working on tiger, leopard, rhinoceros, and elephant, and their prey species. So that is one thing. And the other area is protected area and ecosystem management. This is one of the most important area. It's a holistic approach. Protected area are not like in Norwegian system or even in China. It is a protected area. We are working on 4 protected area as well as conservation area. We are working with people. People are part of it. So we are brought here for particular protected area management, wildlife management, and bringing benefit, as well as ecosystem management there within the area. And another area of our thematic area of activity is conservation economy, whereby it is focused on nature-based tourism. This is one of the important area where we are pioneer in the whole region actually.
Wi-Fi टिपेछ Wi-Fi टिपेछ तपाईको हाम्रो त Wi-Fi टिपेछ
In the rural
यहाँ त
area.
Wi-Fi आउँछ
Near the Microsoft.
Wi-Fi आउँछ के माथि त आउँदैन नि Wi-Fi
नबोल्नु भाइ त्यहाँ So another is conservation economy. Basically, what we try to do and develop models for that, entrepreneur model, homestay system, social formation of social capital, institutional development. For example, mothers group, women's group, workers group within the local area, so that they spontaneously work themselves and get benefit out of the tourist flow as well as other activities. So this is another conservation economy and climate change and its impact. We are doing a lot of studies actually in collaboration with the Norwegian University as well as ourselves also. And also here we have been working with the local community again for enhancing, this biogas production system as well as micro level hydropower, solar and other system also in the local area. The 4th area is environmental education, research and knowledge management. We do a lot of research every year, almost last year 14 peer-reviewed journal articles were published in wildlife related and other activities. So this is also knowledge generation and sharing to the outside world as well as inside. And environmental education, what we do is, wherever these areas I mentioned to you, we are working in, there are schools, where we have developed curricula for conservation. And then these schools are taught, this type of conservation education, environmental education, they are working here. And the other last area, which is very, very important, is cross-cutting issue where gender, the impact of climate change and women, the backward people, poor people, and the young people. So these are all the things that are incorporated into our thematic areas. And based on that, we have different department within the institution also. And also in the site, we have project management teams working here. How are you? Go ahead. So it's a problem. But okay. So these are some of the conservation areas in the mountain. I have already mentioned you. And this is Annapurna Conservation Area. Probably you have the opportunity to visit that area. It is fantastic and one of the best pristine area for fruit tracking in the world. It has been noted everywhere. That is one thing. The other is, the biggest achievement of this trust in working with Annapurna Conservation Area is before 80s, 90s. It was impossible to say that protected area could be managed in collaboration with the people. But we managed to develop a system whereby people can be brought together to manage protected area system. So therefore, the concept of participatory protected area management system actually emanated and generated in this area. So this was one of the outcome of our tedious work for a long time. And now you can see the whole South Asia, even African country, even Latin American countries also, participatory protected area management system has been in place. So this is an innovative way and innovative approach that we have carried out here. And now we can see, these are lodges, houses, poor people, they have a homestay situation, sanitation, health, education, all these things are there and they cater tourists also. So their livelihood has been improved tremendously. Similarly, adjacent to this Annapurna Conservation Area, it is adjacent to the Tibetan Autonomous Region. The other side, Manasulu Conservation Area, which is also pristine, fantastic natural bounty. We have initiated this work also. And we are working on this similar line to Annapurna Conservation Area. And this is Gauri Shankar area, conservation area, where snow leopards, and other cheetah, other common leopards that are there. So we are working on snow leopard, put their prey base and other things in this area. So these are mountain protected area systems. And in case of climate change, what we are trying to do actually is inventorizing. If you see the case of Nepal, total 18 glaciers toward the Tibetan sites are at potential risk of being flooded. And in Nepalese side, particularly in the Kosi River Basin and Karnali River Basin, there are 15 potential. Already two are, one is managed, Sorolba is being managed by, initially by a Norwegian government, I think it was supported because it was about to burst. So these are some of the work that we bring, inventorize those things, as well as we also use, the panel, solar panel now in the rural areas also. So it is a catastrophic event which happened year before last also. We have been doing, I'll come later on this. And in resource education system, I have mentioned earlier, counting of wildlife is not an easy thing. This is one of the biggest missions. We have all these elephants, you have seen here, all these elephants, they have to be prepared. And these people have to go for counting rhino, counting tiger, counting all other things also. Although we have still scientific data are available, but all the animals are not colored. Is it right? Yeah. So this is the problem. And what happened is during rhino counting, one of our person who has been actually injured by the animals, still he is paralyzed and he is in hospital. And that even with the COVID injection, high amount of money has to be paid to the person. And so still we have to pay. We don't know how long we have to do. So these type of incidents are also faced by us. Similarly, our scientists, they go there and treat the animals, particularly rhino. Last year before last also, there was a big problem of rhino in Chitong National Park. We don't know what caused the disease, but 46 rhinos were killed. It was associated with the flood also. So these are some of the issues that we have to tackle. At the same time, pasture management, grazing management within the protected area is also a challenging job. That also we are contributing to support to the government. And in the resource education and knowledge generation, these are the new species that our scientists actually working in the field. they have invented, they have rediscovered, I would say, rediscovered this species, and they were actually rediscovered and also published outside. So this is part of the research also. These are some of the, documents of knowledge management. And now climate change, I don't need to say much about climate change. I think you are very much familiar here also. Climate change is real. It is happening, and happening in a way that, we are all the scientists. We met Neil yesterday. He was part of IPCC team also. I was also part of IPCC team in Ireland and other areas. And in 2019, we had invited 7 of the IPCC scientists, including Neil. They were in Kathmandu, and we would like to feel them how mountains are responding to climate change. So they went there and stayed there 7 days. And so you see the glaciers are melting. And it is very, very difficult now. We talk of adaptation, but adaptations have limitations. We can only do something. What can we do after the glaciers are melted? It's very difficult to adapt. So these are some of the problems. And our total trajectory and effort of the scientific community is to stay within 1.5 degrees Celsius. But I think the trajectory is already, it is beyond, because even in Delhi, Kathmandu, Beijing, Shanghai, all these mega cities, the carbon intensity is exceeding 450 parts per million in some seasons. So it is extremely difficult. It is very, very real, which is happening. So 2 degrees Celsius, maybe even more than that will be the trajectory, I think. This is a global scenario. And these are some of the models that IPCC has actually developed. I am not quite sure whether we will stay here or here. It's very difficult. We may be heading towards upper side already. Here in Norway also, I think you may be witnessing this, the glaciers and other things also. So, and in global scenario, I don't need to mention much actually about this. And now, why Himalayas are very important this is very important for us, for our livelihood, for our survival actually. The whole of the South Asian, including Vietnamese, Cambodian, Laos, and because 10 of the major river system actually emanate from there. And this is the third pole of the earth, Himalaya and the Tibetan Plateau. So this is largest areas of ice outside the polar region. 4 global biodiversity hotspots are there. And this mountain area, Hindu-Kush Himalaya region, starting from Karakoram all the way to Myanmar, it actually is the major source of 10 major river systems, including Indus, which comes all the way to Arabian Sea, Ganges, Brahmaputra, Yangtze, and other rivers also. So this is, they fed about 1.9 billion people are dependent on that. And almost, 35% of the world population benefits from this high biodiversity area. And linguistically, 1,400 languages were spoken there. And still now, 1,000 languages still they are alive, served there. And that means the traditional knowledge system that the language carries is still there. So that is why it is very, very important. Himalaya is very important. Unfortunately, if 1 degree Celsius increased in lowland, particularly in Himalaya, it has been noticed that Chinese Academy of Science is monitoring for the last 20 years, the Tibetan Plateau research, because I was adjunct faculty at Sichuan University in China. So they were continuously monitoring. I was also part of that in Amdo, up in the high mountain area. So they feel that the corresponding temperature rise in high altitudes, which is higher than low altitude. So that is why we are facing a lot of problems. This will be the tremendous problem there in the Himalaya. In case of Nepal now, what do we do? We have nothing to do actually. We can do very little actually. We are a small country of 48,000 square kilometers. about 29 million people total, and Shenhu is between 1.5 billion people north and almost 1.5 billion people in the south. So we are there. So, and our contribution actually to greenhouse gas emission is extremely low, 0.027%. But still, we have to do this. We are one of the most vulnerable countries. We are party to UNFCCC, and we are also party to Paris Agreement, as well as Glasgow COP meetings. So we have to do that, and we actually are trying our best, best ourselves. But at the same time, we are feeling now, erratic rainfall, very bad, flash floods, landslide, and fire. Intensity of fire has been greatly increased also. So these are some of the things which we record also. Like, for example, gentleman from the Norwegian government, he was mentioning about the big flood. And this is the big flood, in Milamsey, near Milamsey, where Norwegian government was also initially involved in this project. And extreme events, erratic rainfall, drought, flood, and landslides, forest fire. You see, it was not used to be like that earlier. 2,700 fire incidents were recorded between November 2020 to March 2021. This year, so we still have to think about this. And now these are some of the data that we collected from the landslide data, fire data. Thunderbolt. This is another event actually. It was very rare. It used to be very rare. Now we call in Nepal it's Chotang, like fire, thunderbolt. So the killing of the people, this is increased flood, of course, is a major problem. And in these natural disasters, dealing with natural disaster, how much we spend. It is almost 2.5% of the net total national GDP every year, but it will continue. So these are some of the major area, human casualty you can see, and affected family. So this is how climate we have been affected by the climate, and the vulnerability, particularly agriculture and food security, is one of the major problems. I mentioned you, and I mentioned Professor, and also I. Because last year only we actually exported almost 4 trillion Nepalese rupees worth of food from outside. Yet we have the potential to export. So that is where we are facing some of the problems. Water resources and energy, of course, we are vulnerable because almost 25% in the dry season. All the rivers, emanated from the Himalaya glacier are fed with the water, and this will turn down. At the same time, as you know, almost all our hydropower systems are based on ROR, run of the river system, no dam system, very small Kulekani dam we have. Otherwise, we have not gone. We have to go in future. So this is another area. Public health and water sanitation and hygiene. Dengue fever, which was very, very extremely rare in Kathmandu Valley. Now, one of our colleague, my colleague actually, who used to work in NTNC, he died of dengue fever, and it is prevalent now. A lot of mosquitoes around. So new diseases are coming there also. So this is again another thing. And another major problem is how should we deal in the face of climate change with the urban areas, urban agriculture, urban forestry. How can we work on this? This we have not been able to do. Urban settlement and infrastructure development. And infrastructure also, every year, hundreds of bridges are swapped out, landslides and others. And vulnerability has increased. Forest and biodiversity, of course, is one of the major areas. We actually, SDG goal 15, I think, we are actually happy to say that we have already achieved before 2030, because 47% of the total land area is under forest cover now. This is one thing. And climate-induced disaster, I have already mentioned, tourism, and they are all impact on tourism, tourism economy. Tourism, one of the major economic source is tourism. So tourism is impacted. And these are some of the, gender and social inclusion, marginal livelihood and governance. These are some of the areas that still we have discussed and we will be discussing in future. Now, as nationally determined contribution, every country has to, voluntarily submit to the conference of the party of UNFCCC. And so our actually commitment for this net zero emission is in 2050. But I have a great reservation on that because both China and India are our neighbor, and they are continuously burning coal in order to generate electricity. Both the countries, of course, they are trying their best for green surface area has been significantly increased in both the countries to actually sequestrate the carbon from the atmosphere at the same time, but still they actually go for 2070 in the last Glasgow meeting. And so these are some of the areas of work where electric vehicles and use of biogas and other things and cooking stoves instead of using fire and other things. So that is what we have actually submitted to nationally determined contribution. These are some of the area. Net zero emission, we say 2050, but I am not convinced on that. And some of the policy initiatives that we have, of course, the biggest problem and challenge because we have the best policies in the world, but our implementation is so poor, we are unable to actually achieve many things that would have been achieved easily. And we have also institutional arrangement and linkages. Office of the Prime Minister, we work closely with the government of Nepal. In fact, this institution is promulgated by the law legislation of government. So this is an government institution. While if we are interested to work with NORAD, we very much would like to work independently, sir. We very much would like to work independently with the government because we are a government entity and we are supporting our government, but in collaboration, of course, with the Norwegian university, that will be even much better for us. So all these ministries, in our board, we have the forest secretary of the forest ministry is our board member. Tourism minister is the secretary is the board member, and similarly, our finance secretary is also board member. So it is all represented by the government. That is how it is made. And also another strength is as you mentioned very briefly, we have gone to the federated structure now. We have 3 tiers of government: federal government, provincial government, and local government. Local government is also equally powerful now. So what we are doing is, particularly in urban forestry and other areas, we are trying to work with the local level area and at the same time to provincial level also. So some of the work, what have you been doing? I have been talking this. This is where you see 2 pictures here. This is Annapurna conservation area. Before we took, this is the vegetation. This is the biodiversity. Now after we took, we can see this. This is the change that we brought. And similarly in the tropical area, in the other areas, high altitude areas, where this is Chiton. Use Chiton, use Matigo. So this is how things are changing. That is how we work. And similarly, small scale, I mentioned, for the people, local community, they are coming, and also, this biogas system here, biogas, and solar water boiler, and solar panels. So these are small technology, but significant improvement at the local level. and preparing for the people to adopt in different types, water conservation and also livelihood support program. So in reality, this institution is for holistic approach to the people, how we can make these things. And of course, establishing herds of wildlife, this is Bubel wild buffalo, which was in Koshitoku area, which is in the eastern Nepal. Now it has been translocated into Chitwan National Park also, where we need a tiger to feed on that also. So tiger population has increased, so we need to increase the forest order base for them. And similarly, the counting of rhinoceros and other things, these are all part of the research work going on. Other research areas, species response to changing climate, how they will do this. Shifting wildlife along the elevation gradient, are they moving up? For example, we have noticed tiger up to Ilam,
More than 300.
over 3,000 meters. Sometimes that we have seen. Research on climate change indicator species like herpetofauna, particularly in Chitwan and Annapurna landscape. These are also ongoing. Climate smart management plans for conservation area, Manasur conservation area, that we have been working on that. And of course, Global Fund, actually, we are accredited institution now by GCF. So we will be able to access some of the fund, small scale grant this time, and maybe future we will be encouraging. So we are working very hard on that also. And for that, we have some proposal which are already in place. One is in Gandaki River Basin, another is Karnali River Basin in West Nepal, and also other small area building climate resilient forest development communities through enhanced livelihood opportunity in Karnali province. This is what I have said. These proposals are being developed. And similarly, in urban area also, we have initiated some work for resiliency development, ecological and social safeguards in East Rapti watershed. We are working on these also. And for future, what do we want to do actually is collaborative research work with the Norwegian University, or even we are also with UK. Geological Society and other institutions are also involved, and local institutions also. Nature-based tourism, of course, we will be working together closely. Livelihood improvement is one of the major area. Until and unless we do this, people will not actually give a damn about the wildlife or anything. So livelihood improvement is another, and disaster management, another area. Transfer of emerging technology in wildlife management. That is what we would like, we very much would like to get from you people also. High degree of, high level of technology, particularly in camera trapping and other technology also. So that is one thing, transfer of emerging technology, wildlife management, innovative technology on agriculture and development. Particularly in agriculture field also, we are still low. Identification of pest diseases and soil nutrient and soil nature and quality. There are high tech here already. That technology we would like to transfer and apply into the field. Human wildlife conflict, I have already mentioned you. It is one of the major problems. Now it will even increase because we increase the number of tiger population now. We are a small country and it is very difficult to keep all these tigers, although they are significant globally, but it is very difficult to maintain them. So, and academic exchange, of course, this is what we are doing here, and our scientists are working with Norwegian University here, and Norwegian scientists are also going and working in Nepal. This is exchange. So this is what I would like to mention you briefly, and I very much would like to respond if you have some suggestion, queries and things like that. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
This month in first week of September, I've been to Nepal for a journalism conference, and we interviewed some of the businessmen in tourism industry. And they pointed out that the basic problem they are facing right now is pollution on Everest and pollution done by mountain tourists majorly. And they felt that there is not enough waste management system in glacial areas and also in Everest region. And my context is also the flood in Pakistan. So we recently have seen a catastrophic flood in Pakistan, and we see that glaciers melted and resulted in a huge disaster. So why not Nepal, that also have the same kind of region, just like north of Pakistan, make a program or a cooperation between Pakistan, India, and Nepal, and just sit together and think about it, that this is the mutual problem we all share together. So why not there is any why not there is any program about this?
Yes, you are right. Actually, there are these problems. Particularly, there are institutions specifically dedicated to actually deal this institution, like International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, which is a regional institution, and their major work is actually to do work on glaciology and cryosphere in these areas. So more recently, after the COVID, you are right. Actually, lot of things have happened. After the COVID and Ukraine and Russian war, I would say these two things are actually impacting on the economy of the institutional management. So specifically mandate of that regional institution. For example, ICIMOD is 8 countries. It is Nepal, China, India, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Myanmar. So 8 countries. So 8 countries secretaries are in the board. Secretaries of each of the Environment Ministry or Forest Ministry. So that means it is not that there is no plan. There is plan, but it is not that effectively implemented. Basic problem is what I mentioned earlier, is still the whole Asia is run through coal fire burning.
Yeah.
So, basically you are talking about glacial lake outburst. Okay. To reduce that, we have to cut down the fossil fuel burning first. This is the priority, and that cannot be done. So that is the problem. Whatever plan we make, this is the core issue. So that core issue, actually, these businessmen, they don't give a damn. They keep burning fossil fuel. They don't give a major attention to whether glacier lake is melted or not. So this is my response to that.
Yeah, but
And for the litter of Everest and other, we have a special separate division in the Ministry of Forest and Environment, and they are continuously monitoring.
They are monitoring. They using
Yeah.
Nepal Army.
Yeah.
For the garbage,
But
it's
last year they bring the 5 tons, the
5 metric tons.
5 metric tons, garbage is the bringing down. And this,
Yeah.
right now we are doing on that.
Thank you. Could you identify yourself who you are?
I'm a student in IR department, and I'm also a journalist from Pakistan.
What is your name?
Ifat
Thank you.
Hassan Rizvi.
Thank you. Any other? Yes, Oren.
I wanted to refer to the pollution of Mount Everest and other mountains. Isn't the reason for there not being enough teams cleaning it up? Is it because the heights make it practically impossible for anyone to clean it up? Because the helicopters cannot build like.
Actually, it is the system that has not been developed, not only in Nepal, but throughout the Himalayas. Because, for example, the adventure tourists or the mountaineers, if the whole group is going, and if they are already actually strict legislative framework that they must actually put these garbages into certain place and allow or bring back. If this type of system is in place, then I don't think it will be a big problem. So this is why.
Professor Jens?
Yes, you mentioned in your presentation that the Green Climate Fund. which is supposed to finance climate action. But I know that many of these kinds of mechanisms, they are often associated with different types of bureaucracy. But I just wanted to know what is your experience on working with the climate fund? How easy have it been to get access to these funds?
It is extremely difficult, as you said, we face similar problem. But however, we have crossed and managed to reach to two, isn't it?
We are in final actually.
Final stage.
And
It is hell of a long time, long procedure, bureaucratic procedure, not only that this also government of Nepal, the parent government also. Sometimes people are transfer and they don't give due attention to the priority of this thing, because we do everything we can to bring, to implement as soon as possible. But the longest period taken is to that end, the international end, UN end, and the other one is, to and fro, comment and all these things. So, in order to avoid that, while I was in EC mode, what I did actually was to hire the gentleman who does this work in UN system. So hire him, and he managed to facilitate and run through fast track. So that was one of the options, but we can't do it. It is very expensive. These type of people are very costly, very expensive. So you are right, Professor. It is a very tedious work. Do you have any other experience also?
No, I just know that to get access to these funds is quite difficult. Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
The state is big money. If you can access it, it can really make a difference, but so difficult.
Yeah, we managed to access two projects now. One is 50 million. Total Nepal.
Yeah, 32 million.
32 million total. On our part is about 12 million. 10 million. Collaboration.
Yes, please.
Just a comment and also a question kind of thing. So Nepal have this license system for the mountaineers to go to Everest and other heights. So don't you think that giving license to so many tourists also increasing the climate change, also causing the climate change in the mountain region? Because I've seen a lot of mountaineers. I mean, there were hundreds and thousands of them. And also National Geographic reported that there were a queue on Everest in 2020. So
It is very difficult. This type of question, I think it is a very good question, but very difficult, because do you really think that 8 billion people is worth for this universe, for this planet? It's very difficult because, advanced tourism, we open for advanced tourism. People are interested to go, and government gives license, and of course, license is for earning money. So that is what they do. The most important aspect is, I think, it is not only not because people are moving, going, and glaciers are melting. It is the behavior, the consumption behavior of our system, our human being, our consumption. For example, do I really need all these clothes here or not? Everything actually, if we see, they are producing carbon footprint. So how can we reduce our carbon footprint is a major concern you have raised. So that is what I think actually. And the trafficking also, I think they are managing, reducing. In some season they go up, but when other season.
Yes, anybody? Yes, sir, Professor Wilderman.
I was wondering, you mentioned that, of course, that coal burning in India and China are really the major drivers of climate change. But I was wondering about your interactions with ecological scientists and conservationists in India and China, and whether or not you have built up kind of a transnational organization to pressure India and China to reduce their coal burn as conservationists.
You are right, Professor. Again, I will refer to my earlier institution, EC mode. We did a very thorough assessment of cryosphere and glaciology and hydrology of the entire Hindu-Kush Himalaya region. Over 300, 400 scientists were involved here of the region. And they published a big document even for the policymaker also. So this is, and even, relating that to the IPCC report also. So it is not that, the policymaker don't know. In Pakistan, they know. In India, they know. Bangladesh, they know. Because they will disappear someday. So they know. But I think it is the inability to act because of very high density population, human population in this area. And you see, India alone is 1.3 or 1.4 now billion. And if we add Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, it is almost 1.6 billion people. This side and that side again, 1.5 billion people. It is a tremendously difficult situation. I think policymakers know. For example, I was a policymaker. I was in the National Planning Commission, government of Nepal. I know that. But how should we go? It's a major problem. That is where I think they are dwelling. But still, they are focusing on giving major priority on clean energy mechanism. If you go to India, in all the coastal area, I have visited the South India, you see all these, windmills are running all the way. Similarly, hydropower, they have given major initiative. Pakistan is also giving initiative in hydropower. Nepal, everywhere, now the hydropower is big. Bhutan already in hydropower. Bangladesh and Bhutan, Bangladesh and Nepal, we are actually entering into agreement to buy energy from hydro energy. India and Nepal, hydro energy. And so this is coming, but I think it will take some time. But you are right. It's very important to make common understanding and act on this.
Thank you, Dr. Oli. Now, I think almost toward the end. So at the end, I would like to have a quick reflection from Norad, because after listening all this presentation and then the feedback from here, would you like to give your reflection to end this?
Thank you. I enjoyed a lot listening to the presentation and to learn more about the National Trust for Nature Conservation. I think the questions have been very good and very important. I represent NORAD, the donor agency in Norway, and we are working with a lot of organizations in the Himalayas to help solve some of these challenges of environmental problems, climate change problems, and natural resource management. We are supporting energy projects, clean energy to replace coal. We are supporting ISIMOD, as Dr. Oli has mentioned several times. It is one of our biggest projects funded from Norway is to support ISIMOD, working in all the 8 ISIMOD member countries, where Nepal is one of them. We are funding some of the global funding mechanisms like the GCF. We are putting a lot of money to GCF, and thus also partly responsible for the difficulty of accessing money from GCF, because we support quite strict requirements that are being imposed to applications from GCF. But we have people sitting on the board, and we have our people approving proposals. And I can hear now 3 proposals for Nepal have been approved in GCF. You are involved in some of these. So a lot is being done, but the need is of course much higher. Finally, I would just like to say I'm very happy to see scientific cooperation going on between our universities and the research institutions and universities in Nepal. And that's also one of the elements that we are supporting from NORAD to put money into the system of the knowledge development and knowledge, making use of knowledge in the environmental area. Thank you.
So thank you very much. So this seminar is come to an end, and I would like to thank everybody, everyone here who participated, professors, students, particularly our head of the department, Jennifer, despite our very busy time, and also from NORAD. And I trust that we'll have some meaningful collaboration with Nepal, the Nepalese partner, and also in the region, because climate change is very relevant for our research, education, and all this portfolio. And we have been producing knowledge in Nepal for many, many years. At least I'm involved for the last 33 years being in Norway. So Nepal has been very, very supportive, and we have created the pool of human capacity in Nepal, and also a lot of knowledge production. But always, I mean, the growing surprises, climate surprises are coming, and we need a new ability to work together. And also we need to join force. And I understand from Dr. Oli that I think instead of having some kind of aversive relationship with the government, rather we need to find or even create that kind of arena where we collaborate more with them, because you yourself is in the planning commission and also in the international organization, now in this national institution. So you can be a very great asset, and you can share with us some great your learning exercise in near future. And I thank you all, and I thank everybody. You want to say anything?
Thank you.